I'm not even going to dare to say a negative word in this video. I would be so far off the mark if I even bothered to try and put any sort of slander on that performance from Celtic this afternoon. Celtic 6, Dundee 0. A Kyogo for a... can't even say his name, I'm that excited. A Kyogo for a Hashi hat-trick sends Celtic to their first 3 points of the season in a performance that was every sort of adjective you could use in a positive manner. Scintillating, tasty, beautiful, satisfying, mouth-watering, sexual, whatever you want to use to describe that performance there in any sort of positive manner, you can use it. That was unbelievable to watch, and for the first time in 18 months I smiled watching Celtic. Even when we won the quadruple treble, it was hard to smile watching that game because of how it went. You can see it, I'm absolutely buzzing. And look, I'll get the massive disclaimer out the way for the Rangers fans who are going to want to pile into the comments section giving it, oh, surely Dundee and all the rest of it. I'm not going to get over my head and say that is the league winning performance and that is us on our way to winning the title this season. No way am I going to come down and sit and say that. But what I will say is that we've been waiting a long time for that. So if you want to comment and say that, fair play to you. I think you've got better things to do with your time is what I would say. I think Celtic well and truly deserve, and Celtic fans well and truly deserve to celebrate that result there, because we were unbelievably good, and it gives you all the confidence and all the sort of the right signals and signs to suggest that we're good enough to challenge this season. We are, only a few weeks into our proper rebuild. We've been wanting this for a long time now. We've been talking about a rebuild since January, February, and from there on. But now the players have started coming through the door. Ange has had his first few competitive games. We've still got other signings to make. The steps are all in place. And I couldn't be more delighted with the way we look on the park, at least. Now, I know there's still a lot of issues off the park. Of course, there was protests at Celtic Park today for all the right reasons. But on the park, we're heading in the right direction. I am loving where we're going. Ange Postecoglou, with every passing moment, is looking like someone who is going to be a great manager for this football club. And I'm just buzzing off everything at the minute. And, it's very easy for all these sort of comments to come back and bite you in 6 months' time when you're not doing as well. A manager could be sacked and all the rest of it. But from the evidence that I have been given today, I don't think it's foolish of me or any other Celtic fan to suggest that we should be excited for the future under Ange Postecoglou. The football we were playing today was absolutely delightful. From back to front, from start to finish, there was no issues for me. There was a couple of, dodgy moments. We can bypass them. When you win 6-0, the negatives don't necessarily matter. And I don't think the negatives I'm going to use negative, I'm going to put on quotation marks, because as I say, I don't really think there was any. But those slight slip-ups and stuff you might see over the course of a 6-0 win, I think they're ones that we don't need to worry about going forward too much. I was absolutely buzzing with that today, and I let nothing wipe the smile off my face, and I'd let nothing wipe the smile off any other Celtic supporter's face with that today. So 3 things we've learned. We usually do that sort of breakdown of the games here on this channel. That's the way I like to do it, rather than just talk about the game for 10 minutes. But we'll do what we usually do. We will run through the game from start to finish. First 10 minutes, this is where the only negative really for me comes in, was that first 10 minutes. I didn't think we looked amazing. I thought it was a pretty even game for the opening 10 or so. We were still finding our footing, but you can put that down to a number of factors. It's only the first time that the majority of this team have played under a Celtic Park crowd of that many people, and a lot of the players for Celtic at Celtic Park for the first time in general. Joe Hart, Kyogo Furuhashi, Liel Abada's just new to the system as well at Celtic Park. Carl Starfelt, these are guys that haven't had that opportunity yet, so there's obviously going to be teething issues. They're not going to come into the team and play fantastic straight away and get it from the start. It's a really pressured scenario to come in and be the answer straight away, but I was delighted with how they adapted to the game after the first sort of 10 minutes. They really made it their own, and let's be honest, from I'd say the 10-minute mark right until the final whistle, there was only one team in the game. There was only one team that was scoring goals. There was only one that was making life difficult, and it wasn't Dundee. Dundee weren't in the game at all. I think 1 or 2 sort of half chances throughout the game, but there was nothing to worry about there. And as I watched it with Stevie, as I watched it with my father, I couldn't be more delighted with how we conducted ourselves from, say, the 10th minute onwards. I thought we looked a little bit nervy in that first 10, and that was it. And it was kind of worrying me a bit at the time, I will be honest. I was like, I didn't think we were going to lose the game or anything, but I was kind of nervy about it. But we grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and we made it our own. And boy, oh boy, we done it in fashion. Kyogo Furuhashi, what a player he's going to be, by the way. What's that? 4 goals in 2 starts for Celtic already. 4 goals in 3 appearances altogether. He is going to be an absolute star. He's everything that Celtic need. And we'll come on to him when we come on to the 3 things, because I've got so much I want to say about him. The way we were moving the ball around that first half, and the way we got our kind of first 3 goals when we got up to half time, was just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The movement of the players, the initiative of the players, the difference is actually terrifying between Neil Lennon Celtic and Angus Celtic. The players have brains. There is something between their ears. Last year our players were dead on their feet. They weren't fit. They weren't using any footballing IQ. They weren't moving into areas. It was dire. Now we look like a well-oiled unit that has a footballing IQ and is listening to a man who's actually got tactics. It's honestly, you'd think we were crying about it for the last, kind of year for it to happen and for Celtic to make that change, and now we finally have it, and you could see how evident that was in the first half performance. The movement of the players was just fantastic, and these low-drilled cross balls, they're going to be dangerous. They really are. Christie on the left, Abada on the right. Honestly, right now at this minute, I think that's good enough for our season. I'm not saying we just now completely neglect the signing of another winger. I would love us to bring in the likes of Lovric. I'm not saying completely neglect that, but from the evidence that I've seen of Christie so far and Abada so far, out of all the competitive games, they've been 2 of our best, if not the 2 best players thus far at Celtic in the 2021-22 campaign. Those low-drilled balls are going to cause problems. The only issue I really had outside of that in the first half was a little bit nervy at the back with Carl Starfelt. A couple of slack passes. Stephen Welsh as well. I think he had a couple of slack passes. We'll build on that. We'll get more confident with it. That was the only worry. But once again, I'm not going to get too far into that and complain about that too much, because I feel like we did control ourselves at the back pretty well. There was a little more confidence than usual. And we played out from the back well too. We were patient. And that's what I liked about the crowd today. The crowd were patient at Celtic Park. There was situations and times in the first half where I feel like the crowd could have got a little bit antsy and they could have started, the kind of booing and the rushing of the Celtic players when they were passing it around that back triangle of Joe Hart, Carl Starfelt and Stephen Welsh. But they never done that. They allowed them to play it out, and we were brilliant from it. We were going forward and playing some really good stuff, so fair play to the crowd today for allowing that to happen. Second half, once again, we just went out, dominated the game. Furuhashi gets his hat-trick. He's just... I have no words for him. He's just so good. It's good to see Edouard back on the score sheet as well through a penalty. It was well deserved. Dundee, let's just touch on that very quickly. Very, very lucky to have... well, they actually finished the game with 10 men in the park, but they were very lucky to finish the game with 10 men in the park. I think the referee in the first half was very questionable. Questionable. I think they should have had maybe 1 or 2 decisive moments with red cards. But we played on from it and we played well anyway, and that's all that matters. We get a 6-0 win at Celtic Park. I am absolutely buzzing, and 60,000 there on Thursday night against a team that we know we can score a lot into. It could be very fucking tasty. I am buzzing for Thursday. So 3 things we've learned then. Let's fire through this as quickly as possible, because I've already been speaking. I'm just so buzzing. There's like no amount of words. It's just crazy. Number 1, Kyogo Furuhashi. He's got to be a star. He is. I don't want to jinx him. I'm going to try my best not to jinx him, but he's going to be a star. The way he was attacking the ball today. My only issue with Kyogo Furuhashi today was, and I don't say this in a judgy or negative way, but he could have had 5 or 6 goals. It's unbelievable how many chances he ended up getting by the end of the game, by the end of his game. He could have scored more than a hat-trick. He should have buried another couple, but I'm not going to use that as a platform to go and throw abuse at him. He's still got the hat-trick, and that's unbelievable. He is going to cause so many issues for so many defences. His speed, his movement, even off the ball, he was outstanding today. He was chasing down every defender, going in with very clean slide tackles, winning the ball, pressing defenders into tight areas that they don't like. He's just going to be the perfect storm for Celtic, and I cannot wait to watch him over the course of this year. He is the answer to our departing Edouard problem. Thing that we learned, number 2, I feel like I need to big him up because I haven't mentioned his name already. Callum McGregor. He is immense. And he's going to be so important for us this season, both as a football player and as a captain. Everything runs through him that's positive. He is so instrumental. He's so important to what we do as a football team in the middle of the park. He's the Springboy version of Xavi Hernandez. He really is. He's just unbelievable, and he's going to be so versatile this season for us in terms of you've seen a difference already. I think it was midweek, or maybe the qualifiers beforehand. He was playing in that sort of more attacking, going forward role, which I do prefer McGregor in. But today he was very much kind of in behind Rogic. Shout out to Rogic for the goal, by the way. I forgot who it was for a moment when I was mentioning it earlier. But McGregor dropped back a little bit. He was really good at holding the ball. He was really good at moving the ball. He was getting people involved in play. I feel like he drew in a lot of the opposition and made it easier for Celtic players off the ball too. In either of those roles, whether it be attacking or sitting back a little bit more, he's going to be so important. And it looks different from this kind of sitting back role that what Neil Lennon gave him. Neil Lennon's sitting back role for McGregor made him lifeless, in my opinion. I said that so many times last season. I thought he was basically futile in the park. He looked non-existent. This sort of more defensive role for McGregor still allows him to have a lot of the ball and dictate a lot of the play, and that is going to be massive for Celtic this season. I'm excited to see how much he does this year. He's going to be, I've already predicted, I think he could be Celtic's player of the season. And thing we learn number 3 is trust the process. I'm just going to big up Ange here. Big up Ange. Trust the process. I'm loving him. I'm loving him, and I'm loving everything that we're setting out to do at the moment. He sent out that 11 today with ruthlessness, with no second thought, just knowing he was wanting to attack the game and score goals. We are in for a roller coaster at Celtic this season. Whether we do concede 3 or 4 a game, we're still going to go and score 5 or 6 a game. He loves the shite, and I love the shite too, and I can't wait. Lads, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the video. What a performance from Celtic this afternoon as we get our first points on the board. Yeah, see you all next time.